welcome to Rumbo Minero. My name is Jorge Leon, and along with Cesar Campos, we will be hosting the upcoming program. Cesar, how are you doing today?
Always a pleasure, Jorge.
To begin with, I would like to point out that our Grand Fair is scheduled for this Tuesday and Wednesday, the 24th and 25th. The gathering, the expo for miners and suppliers. Hey there, come join us at Minpro, where you can participate in various conferences covering a wide range of topics, from international relations to mining. Hey, you go to www.minproperty.com, www.minproperty.com, sign up for a complimentary admission to the event happening at the Lima Convention Center in San Borja on both Tuesday and Wednesday to enjoy the benefits. Find these talks that are incredibly valuable and worth accessing. What else do we have, Cesar?
Without a doubt, Jorge, the increasing curiosity around mining, especially in Peru, is being closely monitored by all citizens through Rumbo Minero. People are following this topic with great interest nowadays. We will be honored by the presence of two distinguished guests, including Dr. Rosa Bartra, a renowned expert who has a congresswoman of the Republic, is a distinguished jurist with whom we will discuss informal mining and whether the state it's a piece of the problem.
Yes, we will have Guillermo Shinno as well, who was a deputy minister for many years and is now the general manager of a mining company. But what matters most is he will discuss investments in the formal mining sector of Peru during his presentation. We're going to have that and much more, but first I'd like to show you our social media that will be coming out any minute now. Remember to follow us on YouTube to rewatch the program and also on LinkedIn and Facebook. Well, TikTok. To stay updated, connect with us on our various social media platforms, as it is crucial for our interaction and communication. Don't forget, the most important magazine, not only in Peru but in America, is Rumbo Minero magazine. The publication Rumbo Minero, which features not just excellent articles on mining in Peru and the Americas, but I mean in the world, but also a great exhibition of suppliers that is so important, major suppliers from the mining sector. All right, Cesar, let's start with the program. Thank you for the update on the mining industry this week. Present with us today is Guillermo Shinno, the general manager of Minera Apumayo. Guillermo, how has everything been going for you lately? Welcome once again, as always, to Rumbo Minero.
Thank you very much, Jorge. Hi, Cesar. How are you?
Thanks. Before we kick off the interview, we would like to share a special report. Please go ahead with that.
The mining investment portfolio in Peru reached $64 billion in 2025, a 17% increase from the previous year and the highest level since 2014. However, the average value per project has fallen by 24% over the last decade, and 69% of the portfolio does not have a defined start date, which creates uncertainty. Moreover, of the 19 new projects, only one involves a new mine, which reduces the transformative impact of the investment. If all were realized, copper production could more than double, and gold production could grow by up to 55%. The major obstacle is bureaucracy. More than 230 procedures and 30 entities slow down progress. The good news is that the MEF announced that as part of the deregulation shock, investment processes will be expedited by addressing delays caused by environmental impact assessments and archaeological evaluations. Heritage. To achieve this, the application of positive administrative silence will be implemented in cases where response deadlines are not met. The key is to act today, unlock the mining potential to boost the economy, and set the course towards more sustainable and inclusive development.
Well, interesting report. Hey, Guillermo, we would like you to explain to us, based on your experience, that you have been Deputy Minister of Mines for many years. Now, dedicating yourself to the topic of general management in the group at Apumayo, in Minera Apumayo, that you strengthen us a little. What is happening? I remember you emphasizing the importance of ensuring there will not be another Quellaveco. It is crucial to have a continuous flow of new major projects in progress consistently. If we don't, the big numbers we have in legal matters would begin to fall. Conversely, illegal mining is soaring to impressive figures. Wouldn't you agree? Meanwhile, the legal system is facing problems in many cases of bureaucracy. And without nothing looking forward, we don't see anything major coming right now, right?
All the barriers have been set precisely against formal mining. And those barriers have been removed, they don't exist anymore. For the other case, which is in this case informal mining and even worse, illegal mining. In the formal setting, we have been observing that in recent years, regulations are now stricter instead of aiming for better optimization. I don't mean to say it should be more flexible, but it should be more optimal. They have leaned more towards adding more steps, additional procedures, and permits. While on the other hand, there is no oversight, no regulation, no monitoring, and no one is held accountable for informal or illegal mining. The way, informal or illegal, I think there are 2 points that you have to see the social conflict with with formal mining. The costs are very high, they are very, very large. There is a lot of violence even against informal mining, but those same people, when it is accompanied by informal mining as well, turn a blind eye.
The Ministry of Energy and Mines, Guillermo, set the investment amount at approximately $64 billion. For the applicable period of the upcoming year, in which 19 projects are to be established, and it is 17% more even than the amount that had been previously set, but when you review the 19 projects, only one is greenfield and the others, well, they are all brownfield. They are all replacements, expansions. So is it really true that this is causing investors to lose their attraction to the mining topic?
From my perspective, the allure is rooted in the geological potential. Unquestionably, Peru has immense potential, meaning that the minerals are located right here in Peru. And that is something investors look at. What doesn't encourage them 100% is the whole issue of social conflict and the existing regulation. I agree with you on the issue of the $67 billion. Nonetheless, let's focus on what we currently possess. In the project portfolio, many of them, in actuality, these estimates are incredibly approximate and the timeline for implementation remains uncertain at this point in time. Well, it's always been like this. All nations sell a wallet of potential, more precise things and things that are suddenly very far from what reality will be.
Okay. Guillermo, share a bit about the topic, like the 3 regions that excel in investments, Cajamarca, Apurímac, and Arequipa. But we have a problem. 60% of the portfolio, these regions have accumulated, and these 3 areas make up 60% of the portfolio's value. But nonetheless, they do not have a defined date, mainly Cajamarca with 96% of the undefined projects. Apurímac 77%, it's not that either. A little, and well, there's tramitology and social problems. Illegal mining. I feel very sorry because, you know it, don't you? Back in the day, when people traveled to Cajamarca, it was experiencing a notable economic peak thanks to its mining industry. Today, we see how the economy has fallen sharply for everyone in Cajamarca. However, we see that 96% of projects are not moving forward.
I think you're right. It's such a pity. And make sure all the viewers pay close attention, particularly those individuals who are listening, that they have always looked down on mining. Although Cajamarca offers many opportunities, it has been negatively affected by perception problems and potentially by the decisions of certain leaders, detracting from its potential for success, where supposedly mining has brought them, more harm than anything else. Cajamarca is as it is today. 3 projects named Galeno and Michiquile are being developed. And Conga are 3, let's say the size of Yanacocha. And taking into account all the lessons we've learned, we strive for a better social environment and improved management. Cajamarca can easily become the top region in the country without any fuss.
About Milei, Argentina is a country we've been looking at through different programs, Guillermo. The way the President of the Republic has promoted an opening, a reduction precisely of all the permissibilities, and an activation of investment attraction, has a portfolio of 16 billion. How do you perceive Argentina's situation with regards to dollars, especially in light of our earlier discussion about the lithium triangle involving Chile and Bolivia? Argentina is a key player in this element, and its dynamics are certainly worth considering.
I currently perceive Argentina as resembling Peru during the 1990s. Something that has transformed, is growing, something completely different from what has been regulated or hindered, regardless of the political trends of the governments in power at the time and everything. But I think in the upcoming years, Argentina is set to capitalize on the same opportunities that Peru enjoyed between the years 2000 and 2010. Investors from all over are showing great interest in Argentina. Even Peruvian investors are exploring opportunities there. Argentina is viewed very favorably by many, attracting attention from various regions.
We recently had Fernan Altuve here on the program, and he talked about the construction of a mining code. He talks about how the Rainfo and the MAPE and the Frankensteins they are constantly assembling are just patches towards an important reality that Peru is a mining country. But we should create a clear code and stop using band-aid solutions that ultimately do no good for anyone. This week we have been attentively listening to the Energy and Mines Commission of the Congress. No, we aren't reaching any agreement, and besides, I'm not sure if I should still call it MAPE or something else, since they completely changed the meaning of everything. And congresswomen like Ruth Luque, well, commenting on a law that is very technical as well. I mean, there is total responsibility, right?
Look, according to the line that the general mining law or a mining code, whatever you want to call it, needs to be updated from time to time. It must be something solid, something well-founded. But complementary temporary regulations, like the formalization process was, the code should not be combined with this general mining law. It should be kept separate. It was initially designed as a temporary solution to formalize the miners for a limited period of time. Provide structured assistance with craft activities to help formalize skills and techniques.
But not for 12 years, though.
For over 20 years now, we have been in reality, and furthermore, this proposal, this MAPE law, what we are witnessing in Congress, completely misrepresents one could say, the fundamental principles of the mining sector. In short, you can't oppose the stability of the concession system. They think a mining project will happen in 10 years, which is just not going to happen. No mining project can be completed in 10 years. Drilling campaigns, exploration, and obtaining permits take much longer than that, you see.
During this week, it was revealed that the Energy and Mines Commission of Congress, a sector known for its leftist stance, has successfully pushed for the ongoing discussion on the initial report to persist. As the legislative term has come to an end, since the sessions must conclude by June 15th. While it is true that the rules permit ongoing discussions, there will not be a plenary session. The most upsetting aspect, Guillermo, is that they refuse to modify the fundamental structure of the draft opinion as we have always known it, and this is extremely disgraceful.
For sure, right? It's such a pity that there are those people that instead of seeking the country's development, they are more inclined to harm the country by wanting to help a few. We are talking about illegal mining, basically, about a few leaders or directors, let's say, from certain sectors of this artisanal mining. They are the ones who will benefit. The great loser is the vast majority of Peruvians.
Now, well, we have finished. I believe that the issue of defining the situation of mining in a group, in a mining commission, is important. So, you see, it's hard because there's so much ideology, and indeed this is a subject that ought to have the Congress, as we often mention here at Rumbo Minero, right? Just when the elected congressmen emerge, the committee, the head of the committee, and the committee is currently is composed of individuals who have no knowledge of mining. There is a persistent lack of respect for mining within Congress. They have to learn about mining within the committee itself and see how they patch things up.
And even worse, they don't bother to look for advisors who understand the mining sector. Instead, they let themselves be swayed by specific people, leaders who prioritize their own individual agendas and interests.
Agreed. Thank you very much. As always, very clear, Guillermo. Thanks for being on Rumbo Minero.
Thanks.
Well, now we are going to a commercial break and we will be back.
Do you want to position your brand and expand your client base in the mining sector? Participate in the most influential mining magazine in America and have your brand reach directly to mining companies, contractors, and the main decision makers in the mining sector. Having a robust presence across our global multi-platform, encompassing a television program, various websites, and specialized social media, we are able to reach a substantial audience of 2.7 million individuals. Ask about our annual advertising packages and advertise in Rumbo Minero magazine, your best business tool in the mining sector. Invest wisely. Invest with the leaders. More information at www.rumbominero.com.
In our America Mining block, we are joined by José Gonzáles. José, how are you doing today? Your presence on our set is greatly appreciated.
Pleasure meeting you, Jorge.
Okay, let's address the topic head on. Israel and Iran. Haven't they set free all that we've witnessed? Please share a little with us. Firstly, what's going on now? And secondly, as usual, all happening at the current moment, just as always. Oil. What does this conflict entail for minerals? What are the consequences for oil?
Amidst this intensifying dispute, Jorge hinted at possible U.S. involvement, intensifying the conflict further. It is already indirectly impacting things, and oil prices are responding in a so far unusual manner. Throughout the early part of this year, prices had been consistently low, with an increase bringing them up to around $75 to $76. And according to analysts, they could surpass $100 per barrel, as with the invasion of Ukraine in 2022. There are already projections of 170, depending on what Iran does or doesn't do due to the escalation. When discussing the conflict, they are emphasizing the importance of geopolitics in relation to crucial minerals essential for energy production, particularly focusing on the role of oil and trade routes. Recently, in Terra Nova, Anthony Ibacaro, the president of North Mining Group, which is the leading mining information group globally and based in Canada, made a statement that critical minerals will be subject to what they call a sphere of influence, but more influence of control. I know that the control of critical minerals today is managed through the United States, China, and Russia, competing for control over trade routes, energy, and electrification through critical minerals. However, it points out that a fourth player is coming, which is a coalition of the willing, and it speaks of Canada, Australia, Japan, South Korea, and Western Europe, who are going to try to mediate in this struggle for resources towards the future in electrification without falling into authoritarianism. Yes, and he says that copper is the clearest example. Why is copper the most important metal of the coming decades? The United States has a significant influence on half of the world's copper production, which is primarily concentrated in the region between Peru and Chile. However, China has initiated the Belt and Road Initiative, also known as the Silk Road, signifying its historical connection, controls 30% of the production due to its investments in Zambia and the Republic of Congo. However, they refine 50% of both metals. There comes an investment, as we have pointed out in the program, in the past and in the magazine. He argues that it is essential for the states, specifically different states, to intervene in order to encourage decentralized capital investment in refining, which would ultimately benefit Peru, where Grupo Mexico via Southern. It's already in progress. Well, that delay must be recovered soon, depending on the need for these resources. And the dispute, the tension over rare earths versus semiconductors in the tariff war is already advancing. Where should we address the conflict and implement its solutions?
And regarding what you're discussing, Jose, which is very interesting, we are now 3 days away from the inauguration of Minpro, the Miners and Suppliers Meeting, and the 7th edition of Confemin, the Mining Conference, where precisely there is a national forum on the impact of global economic policies on Peruvian mining. Tell us something about that.
That's right, Cesar. We are going to meet on the 24th and 25th, just in a few days at the Convention Center. Located in San Borja, Lima, this forum is supervised by Luis Miguel Castilla, the ex-Minister of Economy and Finance, now Director of Videnza. He is joined by Farid Kahat in leading the discussions. Teacher at the Diplomatic Academy of Peru and the Catholic University. It will specifically discuss the impact of global trends on Peruvian mining policies and how they shape national reactions in response to these international dynamics. And we have a panel joined by Carlos Gallardo from the IPE and moderated by Augusto Alvarez. Rodrich, closing time is at 3. At the Mining Projects and Expansions Forum for the years 2025 and 2026, we will present 3 discussions about the panels, including one from Crespo Mining Company, Bear Creek Mining, and the Buenaventura Mining Company. Edgardo Orderique, Andres Franco, and Leandro Garcia will be with us for this event. At the closing of Confemina 7.
Very well, José Gonzáles, thank you very much. We will all be at Minpro, of course. Dear viewer, if you wish to join the crucial talks that have been meticulously prepared, you are welcome to participate in these important discussions. Hey, you can get a free pass, but you need to enroll. The website is minproperu.com, minproperu.com. This Tuesday and Wednesday, the 24th and 25th, at the Convention Center in Lima, in San Borja. Hey, I want to point out that Rumbo Minero magazine, the top magazine, if you want to check out all these comments. Our program includes articles created by our editors, such as José Gonzáles, showcasing their unique perspectives and expertise. And our team, you can see them in the magazine. Simply visit the website, www.rumbominero.com, and every 45 days you can download the magazine for free. Here you will also find all the most important suppliers in the mining sector, which is a reliable source of information for mining companies. Now we will pause for a commercial break and we will be back soon.
As we announced, we are pleased to present on Rumbo Minero the distinguished jurist and former Congresswoman of the Republic, Rosa Bartra, with whom we will discuss mining, informality, and how the state, far from becoming what was once considered the solution, ultimately turns into the problem. Rosa, as always, it's a pleasure to have you on our program.
Cesar, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Look, the statement comes from a report published by the newspaper El Comercio a few days ago, which reveals that, for example, Jorge Bravo, right, the provincial mayor of Nazca, who promoted a revised boundary of the archaeological site that includes the lines and the hieroglyphs, in the end, there was a man with 25 years of experience in operation, based on concessions, obtaining reinforcements, not only in the locality of Nazca, of Palpas, but also in Apurimac, in Arequipa. That is to say, when a state representative like a governor, mayor, minister, or president intervenes in this issue, conflicts of interest are highly likely to emerge, promotes reformulation strategy to evade bias scenarios. Therefore, this leads us to the inquiry originating from the nature of the problem. Is the state the remedy, or is it in fact the issue?
When the state is used for personal benefit, it becomes a significant issue that needs to be addressed. Look, Cesar, how is this case possible? Jorge Bravo, the mayor of Nazca, is promoting the reduction of the reserve space. As it has a personal interest in taking advantage of that area, we are up against a serious conflict of interest, a truly grave situation. I am convinced that he is exploiting his position as an elected official to advance his personal financial gain and interests. And that definitely needs to be controlled. We are on the brink of an electoral process, Cesar, which I believe should, with this precedent, during a period when mining ought to be a primary subject under discussion, promote legislative initiatives and control the comptroller and the national elections jury, so that this whole issue of conflict of interest can be addressed comprehensively. This system enables citizen supervision to the extent that any issues must be reported, not just complaints, ensuring accountability and transparency. Not only food or criminal sentences, but also conflicts of interest should be public and subject to oversight. And both the comptroller and the jury should be able to impose sanctions on those who hide interests that, once in control, they take advantage of the situation.
You, as someone who hails from the La Libertad region, for example, we will also bring up the topic. From Patas, right? Because beyond having declared a state of emergency for more than 16 months, 18 months, now there is a special command of the armed forces, the police, that apparently has to fight. And I say apparently because another complaint also arises. Indeed, in 16 months, the entire state of emergency did not help to control international organized crime in Patas. There was no report. Many people rather say, or journalistic investigations, that also police. Some council members from all those operating in the area are part of the interest and promotion of illegal mining.
Well, read informal mining, along with all the issues you mentioned previously. Actually, I am familiar with Huamachuco as I have personal knowledge about it.
Of course.
Not only, I am from La Libertad, but within La Libertad, I was born and raised in Huamachuco, also a mining area.
Will be happening shortly.
Mining company, and which has at its boundary, close to its immediate boundary, Patas. Well, what you have described is a symptom, Cesar, a symptom of a dysfunctional state. And I believe we are not approaching it from that perspective. Oh, what exactly is a symptom? It's basically a reflection of an illness. Right now, I'm having a fever. But why? It could be due to a potential infection. And what might be causing this infection? It could be due to bacteria, or it could be a virus. So I need to explore, not just focus on reducing the fever. In other words, it's not about fighting the symptom, which is what you just described, but about having a comprehensive approach. Honestly, there are indeed mechanisms that allow medium and even large-scale mining to coexist harmoniously. Coexist and work in agreements with small-scale miners, with artisanal miners. It's a practice that has been around for a long time, and in which All these various levels of mining are seeing benefits from this situation. But what happens when you corrupt that with legislation that instead of promoting these types of alliances in a lawful, open way, and therefore able to be controlled, you are trying to, with this word, which honestly bothers me a lot when we talk about informality, the fight against informality, right? Are you really going to combat 80% or 70% of the activity? Are we talking about fighting against that?
Combat already speaks of someone having to be defeated and someone victorious.
That's precisely why it troubles me. The implications of superiority, along with the association of war, conflict, and confrontations, are what bothers me the most, where one needs to defeat the other indeed, as you just imposed yourself over the other. Therefore, in a state plagued by dysfunctionality, encompassing issues within the executive, legislative, public ministry, and judiciary, significant reforms are imperative. If reforms are not made in the national police, then there will be no solution at all. From this dysfunctional state that might actually work, I think it should be promoted instead. A discussion among the actors, together with the actors, in such a way that they present proposals based on their dynamics and that mechanisms can be established for that dynamic, coexisting peacefully with the activity in perfect harmony. The law is not going to change reality.
And now, precisely this week, we were commenting. Despite the fact that the legislative session ended on June 15th, the Energy and Mines Commission, under the command of Congressman Paul Gutierrez, who is also attributed with particular interests regarding informal mining, has continued the debate, opening the debate, and still intends to approve in extraordinary sessions, which apparently the regulations allow. However, there is no chance for it to attend the plenary session, as there is no intention to convene an extraordinary session solely for the approval of the MAPI law before the new board members are elected and the new leaders are appointed, the committees. Is it another expression of a dysfunctional state that they intend to continue with the debate?
Yes, Cesar. And look, always in a proactive way, right? I believe we are not doomed to illegality, but we urgently require a Congress that places the interest as a priority. About the people, not the mafia's interests. What is happening now with the Energy and Mines Commission and the role of the congressman? Gutierrez, it's really concerning. The legislature was closed on Friday. What does the closure of the legislative session mean? This implies that the commissions are only able to present their management reports. They are restricted in terms of any further actions beyond that. The legislature has been closed and the permanent commission has been convened. What does that mean? It means they can only address the issues already on the permanent commission's agenda. Nothing more. Nothing more. A law this delicate won't be noticed by the permanent commission. It is worth noting that Congressman Paul Gutierrez is now only responsible for signing the management report, as he is no longer serving as the president of the Energy and Mines Commission.
Exactly.
Nothing more.
Yes, finally, Rosa, as you have brought up the issue. Our attention is currently directed towards informality we maintain with its weak boundary with illegality in mining activities. The truth is that Peru is deeply affected by informality. We believe that the best approach is to focus primarily on the topic of mining. Would you agree? This seems to be the most efficient way to tackle the issue at hand. I believe, or many of us believe, that it requires a complete overhaul of the state to address informality as a whole, because I reiterate, mining is just one expression. A large number of individuals have grown accustomed to residing in an environment that promotes informality as the standard.
Cesar, as a citizen, what do? What if there's no reliable transport available?
Exactly.
You don't even have you don't even have healthcare.
Take a
The
look.
service.
The justice service, when it comes into view, we see brawls in the
Well
public
then.
ministry where they tug at each other's hair. Thus,
Therefore,
what can we
I
expect?
wonder what emotions people experience when they work the way they do in Peru for 18 hours, 16 hours. And then the month ends and you need to pay up. You are required to make payments for taxes, salud, and various other fees, and so on and so forth and so forth. A result of formality? Do you honestly believe that people are drawn to paying 1% or 2% when the headlines are overflowing with scandals about my money? They are dressing. With my money, they travel. With my money, they eat, right? and the golden wages, the golden sheets. Thus, if you don't perceive the responsibility to assist the state, it transforms, doesn't it, into a burden. And to this, we must add that we are one of the countries with the highest responsibility towards its workers. Unreal. So once again, we return to the dysfunctional state. A series of protectionist measures have been implemented, which are very good, but for a country that functions moderately well. Cesar, if we are facing 80% informality in the country overall and 70% in the mining sector, I urge you to fight against informality. In my opinion, this is the final statement we ought to listen to from anyone who aims to guide the future of our nation.
Certainly. Rosa, your presence on Rumbo Minero is always appreciated, and we eagerly anticipate your return to delve deeper into your valuable contributions and perspectives on these important topics. Thank you for sharing your insights with us once again.
Thank you, Cesar.
Rosa
Thank you.
Bartra, a lawyer and former congresswoman in the Republic, was with us. Let's immediately go to the mining and society block with Iván Arenas.
A few days ago, the Minister of Energy and Mines, Jorge Montero, mentioned this. There is illegal copper mining. Exactly that. When we talk about illegal mining, we are not only referring to gold mining, but also to other types of minerals. Thanks to the increase in prices on the global market, there has been a boom in illegal mining around copper, primarily in what is known as the Southern Mining Corridor, which encompasses several regions and provinces in southern Peru. Among them, Apurímac, Arequipa, Cusco. These areas are called the Southern Mining Corridor. It is approximately indicated that around 300 to 400 trucks of different tonnages. In terms of transportation, there are approximately 300 to 400 trucks daily, varying in tonnage. We are therefore experiencing a boom in copper prices and consequently a boom in illegal mining. However, this illegal copper mining is already affecting various operations in formal mining. Chumbivilcas, for example, in Cotabambas, to give another example, in Akira or Progreso, where there is this boom in illegal mining, are also impacting the formal operations that adhere to social, environmental, and labor standards to meet all requirements. However, with the rise of illegal mining, unauthorized miners have succeeded in exploiting this sector in what is called ancestral mining, an efficient argument to be able to construct and legitimize their grand narrative, which is that indigenous communities are engaging in ancestral mining. The spike in unauthorized mining is not just limited to copper, but also extends to gold. We will delve deeper into this topic in the following weeks. Thank you for your attention.
All right. At the end of the program, I am inviting everyone watching Cesar to join us this Tuesday and Wednesday, the 24th and 25th of the month. Well, we will be here waiting for you. Simply visit the Expo Miners and Suppliers event website at www.minproperu.com for all the information you need, where there will be great talks that you can watch on this website. In addition to that, the special offer from the De Gama Group allows you to go freely. You simply need to enroll and submit your information, and they will reply to you without delay. Well, so that I can show up this Tuesday and Wednesday. Excellent presentations delivered by global experts touching on various topics such as war, mining concerns, upcoming projects, and advancements in the mining industry. Supplier-related problems, including logistics and maintenance, as well as mineral processing, are currently a concern for us. This is truly an excellent moment to gain a deeper understanding of mining and various other significant subjects. www.minproperu.com, and you can register immediately, Cesar. Will we be there?
That's right, we will be there, especially with the growing interest in mining among the Peruvian public.
That's right. So, greetings. I am Jorge Leon Benavides, and together with Cesar Campos, we have put together this program. Thank you for joining us, and as I previously mentioned, we will see each other in minproperu.com. The event. Hello, I wanted to discuss the main developments in the mining industry in Lima. Let's meet on Tuesday and Wednesday. Thank you.